Hello, and welcome to Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you are not getting the results you are looking for from your digital marketing efforts, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's the host of our show, the local business guy himself, Frank Deming.
Hello, everyone. This is Frank Deming, the local business guy. Welcome to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, everyone. I hope you guys are having a rockin' week thus far. Folks, I can't believe it. We are already in the month of December. This is the last month of the quarter of 2022. That being said, I want you guys to remember that at the end of this month, the last episode of this month, last episode of this quarter, I always bring on my good friend and business growth coach guru, Jennifer Flynn, and we go over marketing for the last quarter, seeing what your results are, giving you some tactics that you can take with you and use it for the next quarter. And in this case, for the next year that you're going to be implementing these suggestions that she gives you. So stay tuned for that. That is the last episode of the year. That's going to be the last episode of the quarter. So I just want to, I always like to bring that up. So I want you guys to always pay attention to that, because it's very important that your law firm is 100% informed with what's important to grow law firms, because you guys are in a very, very competitive space. And I'm sure you guys already know that, so I don't need to tell you. Anywho, so today I want to talk to you a little about lead magnets. A lot of people don't talk about lead magnets. A lot of people I'm noticing is not something that's not discussed many in the law space. So I wanted to show you how you can stand out from your competitor and go through that. So first of all, let's talk to you what a lead magnet is. I understand that some of you may not even know. So a lead magnet is something that's going to attract someone to your audience. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. It's something that's going to attract your audience to you. Better said. The importance of that is paramount. And here's what I mean. When you know exactly what your audience is looking for, when you do your keyword research, and I talk about keyword research ad nauseum on the show, so I'm not going to get into it today, but when you do your keyword research correctly, you know exactly what your ideal audience is actually seeking via the internet, what they're typing to get informed about, whatever that is. It could be estate planning, it could be divorce, it could be personal injury, whatever that is. There are certain patterns that your ideal customer is doing that you need to somehow get a hold of. And what I recommend for an attorney to do is create a lead magnet for it. Okay? So people say, well, Frank, why? I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you want to do this. But let me give you some examples of what you can create in lead magnets. Okay? One of the things that's very, very, very popular is ebooks. And a lot of people don't want to go out and write an ebook or whatever. That's fine. If you don't want to do that, you can create a simple white paper, which is a shorter type form of ebook. A very popular thing for attorneys to do is a checklist. You can create a checklist, or you can also, if you've got some people who are graphically inclined in your office that can create or maybe you can outsource it maybe to an agency or something. You can create an infographic that is a lead magnet. Another very popular lead magnet is a webinar. If you can create a webinar that answers the questions that most of your ideal customers are typing on the internet, that's a very powerful thing. So to me, of the ones I've mentioned, I mentioned ebook, white paper, checklist, webinar, and infographics. To me, what I've seen work throughout the multitude of attorneys that I work with when they do create a lead magnet are the checklists and webinars. Now, the webinars, granted, it's a great tool. It's a great avenue to do. However, as you would imagine, webinars can be lengthy. You have to go on there, you have to educate them, and it takes some time to do that. However, here's the good thing about webinars. Those leads are very, very qualified because they're well educated. And then usually after that webinar is over, your success ratio of the people who take you up on your call to action at the end of the webinar is almost 100%. It's like 90 something, like 98% of the data that I've seen at last time we discussed this with some of our customers. That's amazing. That's phenomenal. So if you think about that, if you get almost a 90%, almost 100% ratio, it may be worth, a 30-minute, 45-minute webinar answering the questions that your potential clients are asking. By far the easier pattern, and it's not a 90% closing, but it's high up there. It's like 60. It depends on. It really depends on the skill set of the attorney, but I've seen it, as low as 50 something, and as high as 75, almost 80. So you got a 60 some odd percentage average there. Not bad, not as good as webinars, but it's a lot quicker because all you have to do is create this checklist, inform the people of the checklist, have a call to action in the checklist. Bam, you've got a qualified person who was well informed. You answered their question on the checklist. Now they're calling you for a consultation. And before you know it, you have a retainer. Okay, so let's talk about the 3 reasons why. And then I'm gonna try to give you some. I'm going to try to educate you a little bit as to in each point as to why. Okay. The number one reason why you want to do this is you want to help. It's going to help you. It's going to help you identify potential clients who are serious about addressing their pain points. Because you can vet them. It's now you're not really, you're going to let in other words, what I'm trying to say with this first point here is that you are letting the lead magnet do the vetting for you. Okay. Because the people who are just tire kickers, they probably won't call you because they got their answer. That's all. But the people who are really serious, they will pick up the phone and call you. So it makes for a better consultation call. It just because they're educated, you answered their question with their checklist or their webinar. Now it's just a matter of, let's have a 5-10 minute conversation, questions that you have for what you read in the checklist or what you heard in the webinar. And now let's go. Let's do business, right? It's just a matter of, it could be the only other issue there is as a cost factor, and that's something that needs to be addressed. But that you have a qualified lead. So that's why I say number one is you identify potential candidates. And then this thing is going to vet through it for you, makes for a very short discovery / consultation call. The number 2 reason why is you showcase your authority and strengths in the specific area of your field. Okay. So when the power of answering someone's question is amazing. And I don't need to tell you that. I mean, as attorneys, when you when you are able to, when you have someone in front of you and you see their eyes light up, right? When you have someone in front of you and they're asking you a question and you're able to guide them in a particular direction, they're like, oh wow, and it seems obvious to them, like, what, this is what I should have done. It's powerful. It puts you in an authority position, and then you're definitely displaying your strengths in the area. You're definitely doing that, but you're doing it you're doing this before they get on the call with you. That's the difference. Because a lot of times people, you have a website and it has all this stuff and it talks about your firm, but sometimes it doesn't truly identify your authority. Until you actually speak to them, it doesn't. Now, if you're able to answer a question that they have in any of those pieces that you're going to give them as a lead magnet, you're doing it there, even without getting on the phone with them. So that's where you want to showcase it. You want to obviously you want to continue to showcase it when you have them in front of you. If they pick up the phone and you call you, that's one thing. But this is putting it, you're way advanced in the process when you do it this way, because you're front loading information, you're front loading your authority, you're front loading your strength in this area. Makes them very happy. Okay. 3, last and definitely not least, it's going to build trust with an audience who may not be familiar with you and or your firm. Okay, remember, people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. This piece of information that you're giving them in exchange for your email is actually building trust. Okay, as well as authority and vetting through the identifying pain points and all that. It's doing all of these 3 things. This is why I'm listing them. Just with this little piece of information, whether it be the webinar, whether it be a checklist, infographics, ebooks, white paper, whatever the ones I mentioned. And there are other forms of lead magnets, but these are the most popular, especially for attorneys, that you could do. But here, once you do this, folks, it's amazing. It's totally amazing the type of consultation you're going to have in terms of closing ratio. So if you're an attorney and you're having a difficult time with your closing ratio, this is something that you may want to try. Okay. And again, it doesn't really take that long, depending on the ones that you select. The long piece of it is the keyword research, obviously, and that's the most important piece. Before you definitely don't want to do any of this without the keyword research. And again, I'm not going to talk about that because I talk about that ad nauseum, because that's how important it is. But understand that once you do the right keyword research and you apply a lead magnet strategy to your marketing arsenal, your law firm is going to be a lot different from that day forward. Anyway, I hope you guys got a lot out of this episode. I'm going to put an end to this episode today. This is the first episode in the month of December. Can't believe it. This year has gone so fast. But anyway, if you enjoyed this episode, if you got something out of it, and you think that if you know of an attorney that can use it, maybe a fellow colleague that practices somewhere in a different state that you think would benefit for this episode, along with also the whole my whole podcast link, and you yourself I would love if you subscribe it, forward it, and if you can rate the podcast, that would be great. The only way I grow is if you guys help me, and I really appreciate that. So with that, I wish you guys nothing but the best. This has been Frank Demon, the local business guy. Take care, and until next week. Peace out!
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. Don't forget, any links that were mentioned during the broadcast will be available to you in the show notes, so be sure to grab them while you have the chance. Incidentally, if you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss on the show, be sure to send an email to the email provided in the show notes, or click the Contact Us link and let us know what topic you would like us to help you with, and we'll be sure to add it to our schedule. If you would like for Frank and his team to look at your digital marketing presence and give you a free evaluation, simply click the Request a Free Consultation link in the show notes to get a hold of them. That being said, until our next episode, make it a successful digital marketing day. Peace out.